Welcome to Block 6 of your Stability and Mobility Unit for your Athletic Development Program. As always, we talk through 3 stability and 3 mobility exercises, and again for you at home is to try and decide how much of each one you need. Perhaps you need all 6, perhaps you need a bit more stability or mobility. So we'll give you the options, and please at home address whatever you feel you need to address on the continuum, because some people really struggle with stability, some people really struggle with mobility, and doing one of or more of the other one when it's not suited to you is not going to benefit you. So try and figure out and discover which is going to be most benefit to you. Okay, so we'll start with stability, and I'll call this the merging diver. So it's the idea here is you're diving down and then diving back up again, and you see this by display here, which Sandra's going to show us. It's on a single leg. You're going to dive down. It's a bit like a hamstring motion, really. You're going to dive down as far as you can, and then you're going to come up and dive up, and almost you're swimming up. So imagine that motion of the diver coming down and then back up again, with the movement obviously of the other foot as well. So it's going to stimulate the stability of the hip to control the motion down. Good, and get a nice straight spine, straight line with the legs, and then try and come up and dive up, and then get the leg up as well on that side. Perfect. So you're going to do 6 on your left, 6 on your right. Now there'll be such a variety of movement at home. There'll be people that maybe find that it's hard to stabilize yourself throughout the motion. That's absolutely fine. A bit of failure in these movements is actually quite beneficial, because it's teaching the nervous system to be able to control this movement. So if you don't feel you're competent at it, practice is what's going to make it better. So the more and more you practice these stuff with the intent to do them right, will benefit you in the long run. So again, 6 reps on your left, 6 reps on your right, going through this flow series. The next one is hip stability. So hip stability reach. Well, why it's hip stability is because we've taken out the contribution of the foot. The foot obviously helps stabilize the body, but now we take the foot out, so it's just the hip that we're challenging. And whatever hip that we're on, we're trying to touch the opposite hip back to the floor. Now we're using the bench here because it is a very challenging exercise, and we're going to show you that in a second. You're touching your knee behind you as far back as you can, so you're keeping your knee close to the floor, then touching down and then coming back. Okay, so if we take away her hand, Sandra, if you want to try without your hands, there's a very challenging movement now to reach back and touch the floor. So this is what you may experience at home. If you've not done this movement before, you touch your knee off the floor and then come back. Now, sometimes this is going to demand a lot of stability, and if you take away the mobility or the stability of it by taking away the hands, sometimes the mobility can compromise. So I want good range and good stability. So initially, you might have to put your hand on the bench to drive the movement. So here, you're more competent with the movement, and as you get better, it's 4 fingers, it's 3 fingers, it's 2 fingers, it's 1 finger on the bench, and then suddenly you're taking it away. So even just that a little bit alone, that 1 finger allows her to get good stability. Now, what Sandra's doing here at the minute is demonstrating that momentum's her friend. So force and speed is her friend, right? I want to slow it down. Because she's using the speed then to get joint stability. She needs to control our muscles to contribute more to the movement. Touch and then come back. There, it's a lot harder for her to do that. She can rush the movement, it's actually better for her, but if she has to slow it down, that's when the challenge comes in. So at home, nice control movement. Use the bench if you need to use the bench. 6 repetitions on each side. Okay, next one, into a lunge. So it's a lunge with eyes closed. Now make sure you have a safe environment before you do this, right? And just open your lungs after each repetition. But you're going to lunge forward with a hand drive. So you're going to rotate your body as you lunge forward. So you're going to lunge onto your left or right and rotate over that body and then come back. Now the knee shouldn't hit the floor, should be close to the floor, and then rotate and then come back. Good, yeah. And then open your eyes, just check yourself before each one, and then go again. So lunge and rotate. She was perfect in the practice. Yeah, and then rotate. Good, and then come back, but so the knee shouldn't hit the floor on the other side. So she's gaining stability from the knee to the floor. I want the stability and that proprioception to all come in together and communicate. The body needs to communicate with itself of where it is in space, because it's all with your eyes closed. You can't get any visual feedback. You have to get visual feedback from the proprioceptors throughout the body to allow yourself where to go and how you're going. And obviously the hand driver is just shifting the momentum across the body, and you've got to control that momentum and come back. 6 repetitions on your left, 6 repetitions on your right. Okay, that's good. Now we go into the mobility side. So inchworms, you may have done this before. Good hamstring mobility exercise. A lot of this is hamstring or hip dominant. So again, good position here, getting out into a plank and then walking her feet forward into a position. So that's really good. If I were to do that, I wouldn't have half the range. So people at home may have this range, may not have this range. Just do it one side on so you can show how good the range is here. So she walks out into a plank, so already a good range here, walks out into plank. Good plank position, walks in as far as she can with her feet nearly to her hands. This is a good range. Again, six repetitions of this and works through this range, and obviously every time you do it you get a bit more benefit. So Sandra, if you don't mind me saying, she would benefit a lot from more stability exercise. She's got loads of range, good range of her, but stability is the issue here. So at home, if you're a similar profile to this, you would be more beneficial to do more stability than you would mobility, because the mobility is already there. She has loads of range. She doesn't need to do much of this stuff. She needs to do a lot more stability. Okay, wipe and reach then. So again, this is a more hamstring exercise. So foot on a box or anything at home. The back foot here is important that it's straight, okay, because this aligns up the hip. Externally rotating the hip would push the hip out. We want the hips in line. Back foot is straight, foot is on the floor. So the wipe then is, so Sandra's in a good position again, hands across her chest. She's nice and tall, so stay upright. And then just rotate the left foot across as far as it can go, and then out to the left as far as it can go. Okay, so what we want is the full segment to be rotating. We don't want just the toes to do the movement. Imagine this foot now is one block. It's rotating all the way to the left, rotating all the way to the right. Okay, once you've done one of those rotations, then we go into a reach. So you reach now, forward, yeah. Go to the in range on one side, reach forward, and go to the in range on the other side, reach forward. Okay, so how to count the reps here is one reach all the way, one wipe all the way to the left, one wipe all the way to the right, and then reach in those in ranges. One reach is one repetition, and then just continue that. So now you go back into your wipes again, and then into your reaches. So one full wipe, one reach on that side, that's one repetition, and then change. Okay, and then the hip mobility. Now hip mobility, we have a cage here, we have the luxury of a cage, but you might not have a cage at home, but use something where you can just hold on and really stabilize yourself, lock yourself in. So you get onto this. So it's similar to what we did here, but now this time we got full stability because we got a big cage to hold on to. So it's not going to challenge the stability as much. It's going to challenge the mobility a bit more. So we're going to reach back, but once we reach back from this position here, what we want to do is kick our hip forward, but bringing our foot around to the side as well as we get there. Yeah. So go back. And as you're bringing your hip through, you're kicking your other hip forward. That's it. And touch around. Very, very difficult. I find this very, very hard. I can't get the foot up to almost 90, which is what the challenge is. So that's good movement. That's good range there. Bringing the hip through, and you're keeping the hip, and you're trying to get the hip into flexion also on the other side. So again, 6 repetitions there. One side might be better than the other side, and again, just practice your way through that movement. But that's it. Okay, there are your 6 exercises in this block. And as I've demonstrated with Sandra, she may be more beneficial for her to do stability as opposed to our mobility. And if you're at home like that yourself, figure out which one you want, and don't polarize the two. So it's not like you have to do one or the other. You might have a mixture of both, but there might be one bias that I need a bit more stability than mobility in my program. So not one or the other, it's just a blend of some. So decide at home which is most beneficial to you. Use some of the exercises from the other blocks, because it's all a continuation, it's all a continuum. It's not a one's better than the other exercise, it's just one might be more beneficial for you than the other. And to build that into your program before you train every day. And if you've developed a good movement in this kind of unit, then the effect then of training is going to go up. Because if you move better in here, more likelihood is you move better on the pitch. If you move better on the pitch, you're more likely to try something different that you couldn't do before because your movement is now better. And then the effect of that training has gone up, and everything cascades up, and that's how you improve your performance over time. Okay, hope you enjoy it, and tune in next time.